Okay, guys, what's up? Welcome back. It is Monday. Hope everyone had an easy fast yesterday if you were fasting. Today's Monday, and I know the last weeks we've been really focusing more on Breslov stuff. This week today we are going to read some stories about Parshas Pinchas. This week we read in the Torah the portion of Pinchas, and some stories I found that have to do with the Parsha a little bit, just like 2 or 3 stories, and I'm just going to start reading, and hopefully it'll be good. So it says over here, let me just get it. You can see the microphone, little right there, pretty cool, right? Hope the sound is good. So it says over here that the Baal Yisoid Ha'avoida Zechusim Yogan Aleinu was a big tzaddik. I'm not really sure who he was, but at the time that he was being Isaac, that he was dealing with the building of his shul, he wanted to build a shul. He was going wherever he lived, probably in Poland or Ukraine or wherever, one of these places. He was going from city to city, to village to collect money, right? To all the people working in the fields and everybody, all the simpletons, everybody, that they should give him, money, that they should donate so that they could have a shul, right? And in the week of Parshas Pinchas, it happened to be that he was in the ear of Kreionik, I don't know what that is. And one of the people that lived there happened to be a very rich person who was one of his Hasidim, or one of his followers. And he asked from this Chassid, this rich Chassid, the Baal Yisoid Avoida, asked him a very, very large amount of money, as a donation for the building of the shul. And when the Rebbe saw that this rich guy was having a little bit of a hard time taking the money out of his, getting the money, it was kind of like, I don't really know, whatever. So the Rebbe said, this week's parsha is Parshas Pinchas. And if you look at Pinchas ben Elazar, right? The Torah says Pinchas ben Elazar. So the Rebbe spelled that, basically said like a whole little thing on these 3 words. Said Pinchas, the word Pinchas can be broken down into the word pen and chas. So the Rebbe said pen chas al hakesef. Maybe you're worrying about you're about this large amount of money that I am asking you for, right? So Pinchas, maybe you're worried about this money. Ben is also like Havin, like you should know, you should understand that Pinchas ben Elazar, that you should understand ben Kel Azar. Elazar could also be broken down into Kel Azar, which means that Hashem will help. That Hashem is Baruch Azar v'Azar. Hashem is always helping. So the Rebbe was telling him, like, I'm here with you at the week of Parshas Pinchas, and from the name of Pinchas, we could see that Hashem is in charge of all the money, and Hashem will repay you for doing such a big mitzvah of the tzedakah. Right? So it doesn't really say if actuality the guy gave the money, but I'm sure he did. But that's a pretty cool thing. Then over here, this is a pretty long story, but it's really cool. So Rabbi Shalom of Kamyunka one time came for Shabbos, on Shabbos Pinchas, right, to the Rebbe Rav Shalom of Belz, right? B'tzafta imrei v'yedidoi adivrei Chaim of Tzanz. I guess he went along with the Sons of Rebbe, or I guess to Rav Shalom of Belz, okay, the Belzer Rebbe, on this Shabbos of Pinchas, right? So they were standing in front of the Rebbe, and they asked him a question on the Rashi, right? Rashi is a commentary on the parsha, right? And it says on the pasuk Pinchas ben Elazar, right? So why did they give the yichus of him? Why did they give his lineage, his family lineage? Pinchas is the son of this, the son of that. Rashi says that they did this because the Shvatim, the other tribes, were embarrassing him, right? Like that he did this and whatever. So the pasuk comes and it tells us that he had great lineage until Aaron HaKohen. So they say, but this is a very, very wondrous thing. This is a davar tamua. This is very interesting, right? Because first of all, the Shvatim already knew that Pinchas had lineage until he had great lineage, and even still they were still making fun of him, because they also knew that he also had lineage from his mother's side until Yisro. Yisro wasn't, Yisro was a priest who was doing serving other people, serving other gods for many years, right? So what is going on over here? So what is the pasuk doing? That's going to tell us that he was till Aaron HaKohen. The people are still going to be making fun of him because his mother was from Yisro. So the Rebbe of Belz, the Belzer Rebbe said, I'm going to tell you a story that was with Rabbi Yaakov Yitzchak of Lublin, my Rebbe, the Choiza of Lublin. Right? So it says that back in the days, the Jews, we all know from Hasidic stories and everything like that there were Jews who had, back then they had a lot of kretschmers. A kretschmer was like a little bar, a little pub that a Jew would rent or he would buy, and then he would sell whiskey and stuff to farmers and simple villagers and things like that. It was like the place to hang out, and they would give a certain percentage to the person that they rented from, and the rest they would keep, and that's how they made their money, right? So one village, there was a Jew who had one of these kretschmers, and he was making money. And of course there was a priest, a very evil priest, who was not happy that this Jew is making money. So what did he do? The priest told another non-Jew to open up another bar, another kretschmer, to take away business from this Yid, right? So eventually people started going to this non-Jewish guy to drink, and the Jew saw what was going on, and he wasn't having any money, so he went straight to his Rebbe, the Lubliner, Choiza of Lublin, and he told him what was going on. So the Rebbe said, don't worry about it, in a few days he's going to fall, whatever, he's going to have a big downfall, and you don't have anything to worry about, right? So a few days passed, and this non-Jew who opened up the bar, he passed away, and all of his customers now went back to the Jew. That's pretty intense, right? But the priest was like not really, giving up so easily. So he was like, Yalla, he finds another non-Jew to open up a bar, and everybody goes back to the non-Jew's bar, right? So of course this guy, he goes back to the Rebbe, right? And also the Paritz wants more money that he rented from, and all this. He was having a lot of problems, right? So what does he do? So the tzaddik said, I can pray for you, but I can't do what I did last time, that this non-Jew should die, that this non-Jew should pass away. Because why? After this first non-Jew passed away, a spirit came to me, a ghost or a spirit or whatever, with two candles that were extinguished in his hand, and the spirit said to me, why did you extinguish these two lights? And this is what the Belzer Rebbe answered to these guys, and he did not explain the answer. So they went out from the Rebbe. They were sitting over and over these words, trying to figure out exactly what the Rebbe was talking about. And so they understood that the kavanah of the Rebbe was that they understood that now, from this story we can learn that all the neshamas that are supposed to come out from a person, that a person is supposed to have children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, everything, all of the neshamas that's supposed to come out from one person, they're already inside that person in nitzitzis ketanim, in very, very small holy sparks, right? In that guy's neshama, there's already a small nitzis of the neshama that he's supposed to bring down from Shemayim, that he's supposed to have a child, whatever. So this spirit came to the Rebbe and said, these two neshamas, toivus uksheris, were still supposed to come out, even though the guy was a non-Jew. Maybe he would marry a Jew, whatever. So you now, by killing this non-Jew, the spirit said to the tzaddik, right? Now you lost these two neshamas from coming into the world. So what does it have to do with Pinchas, with this lineage zach that we were talking about? So, mic over there. So now we can understand this inyan of Pinchas, right? Because the Shvatim were embarrassing Pinchas. Ramu sha'asa maseu mitzad amidus haroyish mishoshas by bisalada. That they said that he did his ma'isa by killing Zimri or whatever, from the bad traits that he had, from the bad yichus that he had, right? Because he's from Ben Puti. That's what Rashi says, that Ben Puti is from the side of Yisro, the son of Puti, right? And he didn't do it because for Hashem, he was doing it just because he wanted to kill someone, like a bad thing. So therefore, what does the pasuk say? So the pasuk says, so the pasuk comes and says, and gives his lineage until Aaron, to say that he's an ish kadosh hamisiyaches lezekena Aaron, right? And mashahu ben puti, and just because he's ben puti doesn't mean that he's worse. Kigam kishahaya etzel Yisroi savay bebechinas nitzitz katan, because Pinchas at one point was a nitzitz katan by his grandfather Yisro. Oyagam oz toiv yasher. He was already a holy soul back then. Kol Hashem shal Yisro kamer la'avodah zara kvar nimtu bekir boy. All the years that Yisro was doing avodah zara, kvar nimtu bekir boy oisim nitoitis toiv mekdoshim shiatzel b'soif oilam b'tmuz zari achrei. So that's a pretty crazy idea. He's saying that even when he was by Ben, the Shvatim were making fun of him because he was from the side of Yisro. But the pasuk is coming to tell us that no, he was still holy, even though he was from Ben Puti. But now he's from he's from Aaron, right? We have the lineage from Aaron. But also, when he's from Ben Puti, it doesn't mean that he was worse. It means that Yisro was just having these, these holy sparks inside him that he was eventually going to bring down. But it doesn't mean that he was a bad person. So whatever he did, his ma'isa was for Hashem. It wasn't just because of bad midos. And that's what the Torah is trying to tell us over here. So that's very interesting zach from the Bells of Rebbe and all that. All right, the last story for today. This one is based off of the pasuk L'chein emor hineni noisin lo es brisi shalom. I give you my covenant of peace. Right, this story is about peace, having peace. Let's see. A guy is telling a story about Rabbi Yisrael Grossman. I don't know who Rabbi Yisrael Grossman is, but he's probably a holy Jew. He said that in the chutzner next to our house, this is like back in the day, there was a widow who was old and sad and all alone who lived there. And she was all alone, so what did she do? She used to listen all days on the radio, to talk shows or people talking, news and songs and everything, right? And one of the neighbors over there was a Kanai Gadol. He was like, no, this is not happening. Can't have radio, right? And he would go into her house and, come on, turn it off. We don't need this. It's a davar tameh. It's a bad thing. It's an impure device. All these things doesn't make difference. The almana kept him listening to her music. So one time on Erev Shabbos, this guy, this zealot, this religious zealot, we'll call him, this guy who was not happy about the radio, he waited till the almana was finished cleaning her whole entire house, and he went straight to her house after she finished cleaning, and he poured in water to make her house even messier. So my uncle, this guy is talking about Rabbi Yisrael Grossman, said that my uncle saw this, Rav Shimon Grossman, and he was not able to handle the tsar of this almana. And he went over to this zealot and he said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Maybe your kavanah was good, but your maisa is not right. This is not the right thing to do." So he went. So who went with him? He said to him, "Come with me. Let's go to the Rav Dushinsky, the Rebbe of Dushinsky." Right? I think that's who he is. I think, right? Let's see what he says. So this religious zealot who was sure that whatever he did was this is the right thing to do, get rid of this radio, and he went. So So they went to the Rav, and the Rav said, he said, and he started telling the Rav that there's this widow who has this machshir tameh, this radio, it's not so tameh, right? And I tried to protest against her and all these things, and now I poured water inside her house and everything like that. And when he finished speaking, the Rav Dushinsky jumped from his place, bechil brother, shaking, and his face was red like fire. And he grabbed onto his stick, and and he pointed at this guy, this zealot, and he said, "Russia, save me, basi. You're a Russia, get out of my house." Right, and so that means that this guy's actions were completely wrong, and it was not anything to bring peace. The avoid is to bring peace, and that's what this Rav Dushinsky was trying to tell this guy beginning of the house. Okay, someone says this is the radio. What's the big deal? It's just a radio. You know what I'm saying? Imagine today, But I'm just saying, it's you don't have to be that guy. Somebody's trying to, not be so lonely to listen to the radio. Calm down. You know what I'm saying? But that's the stories for today on Parshas Pinchas, which is nice because it's always good to know some stories in the Parsha. And later on in the week, we will continue talking about Uman Rosh Hashanah, and getting there, what's going to be this year, and more inyanim about it from the Rebbe and everything like that. Everyone should have a great week and a great day.